Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter podcast. I'm going to go through this really fast, so I hope you guys can listen quick. We're going to go over the National League for Major League Baseball. It's preseason prediction time. The season's about to begin in, now it's going to be 2.5 hours. Got the Giants and the Yankees first. But we're going over the National League in this video. I hope you get ready because this is about to be basically, speed run. Starting off here, we have the Atlanta Braves. This is a team that really had a rough season last year. This is a team that, um, and I've said this. I actually already did my American League video before this one. Um, in that video, I talked many times actually about some of the teams that kind of hit their peak. It seemed in like one season, and then it's just kind of been downhill ever since. That kind of feels like the Atlanta Braves, because really since that year when they won the World Series, in 2021, which I believe was the year they won it. Yeah, 2021, I think. Because 22, yeah. In 2021, when they beat the Astros, won the World Series that year, I feel like since then it's just they've kind of just been falling apart. They haven't been. They had a couple good seasons there where it looked really good for them, and they ended up having some good seasons, but they kind of had consistent early exits in the playoffs. Constantly got ousted early, and then last year, 76 and 86, multiple injuries, completely dragged the team down. And I mean, this is the same team really as last year. I mean, they have still a lot of the same guys. Chris Sale's still around. You got Matt Olson, Nazi Galvis, Austin Riley. You got Mike Yastrzemski now. Ronald Acuna will be back. Michael Harris. So, I mean, they got still a lot of good guys still here. You still got a lot of good players, but last year a big thing was just injuries. Injuries completely dragged this team down. We'll see if it does it again to them. I mean, 2 years in a row would be absolutely brutal, but I mean, that's just kind of the game. You don't know you don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see what happens for the Braves. But I mean, I think this will be a decent year for them. I think they could be in the playoff chase, maybe. It's hard to say because really, other than Chris Sale, who is getting up there, by the way, he's like 37, 38 by now. Uh, oh, 36. Okay, that's well close enough. I mean, he's up there in age. How much does he really have left in the tank? I don't know. And then Spencer Strider coming off a big time injury. He might be out for a portion of the year due to Tommy John surgery. And who knows what he even looks like when he comes back. So, and you got Rafael Iglesias and Robert Suarez in the bullpen, which is a nice one too. But again, like kind of like like I said, just you know, I don't know. We'll see. With guys getting healthy, maybe they can, turn some things around, turn the ship around. But it was a rough year last year for them, and it was tough. It was tough to see if you were a Braves fan. And then next we have the Washington Nationals. This is a team that was 66 and 96 last year. Um, Very bad pitching staff, not very good pitching. And they also traded a bunch of guys away last year. This is just a team of all young guys. I'm not expecting much from them. I'm not really going to go over the Nationals really all that much. Like I said, they're pretty much just an all young team. They're in rebuild mode. Um, there's not really much to say about the Nationals. They're just not really that good. They didn't really add anybody either. I mean, all they really did, I think, was trade away Mackenzie Gore to the Rangers and got prospects for him. Other than that, there really isn't much that the Nationals really did. But speaking of teams that actually did stuff, my goodness, did the Mets make moves? These guys went crazy in free agency. They went ahead and they went nutso because they don't want to lose anymore. They are very tired of losing. So they decided that they would. And I'm not sure if this is really the best of ideas necessarily, but they decided to start rating the Yankees for guys. I mean, considering their failures in the playoffs, I don't know if rating your crosstown rivals is the best of ideas, but give it a try, I guess. Um, but they went ahead and got two closers from the Yankees, getting both Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. Devin Williams had a really awful season last year. He's obviously had very good years for the Brewers, but last year for the Yankees was a big yikes. So we'll see if he can turn that around. Like I said, they also got Luke Weaver. They also traded for Freddie Peralta once again from the Milwaukee Brewers. Um, they also have Nolan McLean, which is a big time pitching prospect, really good player. Saw him at the World Baseball Classic. That guy does have some nice stuff. He ever figures out where it's going, good luck. Um, and then you also brought in Marcus Simeon. They brought in Bo Bichette. They brought in Luis Robert. A lot of new faces in Queens right now. Do I think he'll end up being, do I think all these moves will help him in the long run? Sure. I think this is a good team. I think they'll definitely be a playoff team, assuming that that all these insane moves and insane additions actually pan out. This is certainly a good team. I'm just not sure um, how good it'll be for them. They added a lot of new guys. Will all of them really work out? Because who knows if all these guys are really going to produce like they hope they will, and if they don't, well, that's obviously going to be rough. So yeah, excuse me. Obviously, a lot of question marks, but if it pans out, Mets could be a very, very nasty team. And then we have the Philadelphia Phillies, who won the division last year at 96 and 66. Um, Pretty comfortably at that. The Mets were 83 and 79, which was pretty bad for what they expected to be. But the Phillies, they have a pretty darn good starting rotation of Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Jesus Luzardo, Aaron Nola, and Taiwan Walker. Uh, and then they have pretty much the best closer in the game. They have one of the best closers in the game in Yohan Duran, who they got from the Twins last year, part of their fire sale. They also brought in Brad Keller. We'll see how that goes for them. I think really the interesting thing for the Phillies, ironically enough, I think will be their hitting. Um, really a lot of these guys on this team have been kind of just been fading in recent years. JT Realmuto's getting up there in age. Bryce Harper has been getting older as well. Heck, even their own GM said he's not the player he used to be. Not sure if that's a good thing to say about your own player, by the way. Um, but he is getting up there. Still a very, very good player. Not like Bryce Harper can't play anymore, but certainly not. I wouldn't say he's the guy who was playing for the Washington Nationals. So put it that way. Trey Turner obviously is still a good player, and then you got Adolis Garcia, who might be well past his good days, and then you also got Kyle Schwarber. You know, I don't know how the hitting part of things will go for the Phillies, but that pitching staff, whew, that that's nasty. And the pitching can get you a long ways. It can get you a long ways, but if you don't score, it could also give you issues. Because I mean, you can pitch as well as you want, but if you still lose games 1-0, that pitching didn't do you any good. You got to put runs on the board. I mean, you don't score any runs, you're not going to win. It doesn't really matter how good your pitching is. And then last on here is the Miami Marlins. This is a team that I expect to be kind of bad, similar to the Nationals. This is a team that's rebuilding. This is not a good team. They do have Sandy Alcantara coming back this year, or I think he was back last year, but he had a really, really bad year last year. They brought in a couple. There's a couple young guys coming up for the Marlins. I don't know much about this team, to be honest with you. I don't. Is there? Are there even Miami Marlin fans? I don't know. I don't just listen. No disrespect to Miami, but I feel like every time I see a game at uh, Lone Depot Park for the Marlins, nobody's there. I'm just being real, okay? But this is a team that just has a bunch of young guys. Um, Not really much to say here. This is just all young players. Whether they pan out or not, it remains to be seen. And this is not a team looking to compete. They're just looking to, you know, they're just stockpiling young players and hoping they work. And then next up here, we've got the Milwaukee Brewers. Brewers were 97-65 just last year, which was the best record last year in all of baseball. This is a team that I feel like just needs an owner that will actually invest in them because every year it seems like they all every year they have really young players, really good young players, and then they don't retain any of them. They don't want to pay any of them, and so they trade them away or just let them walk, which I feel is just so wrong. But that's kind of the way baseball is right now. And some teams like the Brewers will just kind of cheapskate their way in games, and just not really care. And other teams like you can already see them right. Whoops, you can already kind of see them right here. But other teams like them, will pay for whatever it takes to win a World Series. So I don't know. Owners, some of the owners kind of irritate me with what they do. Um, and just, when you got a team and you got good players, just retain the guys. You want to win, then sign your players back. Stop being a cheapskate. End of rant. But the Brewers, I mean, like I said, young team, very young team. A lot of young guys here. You still got Jackson Cheerio. You still got William Contreras, which are the two main young guys that they have. They still got Christian Yelich, who isn't a young guy. Well, I guess young to most people, but in baseball terms, not really. You got Sal Frelick, you got uh, Jake Bowers. I don't know, it's Jack Bauer, Jake Bowers. Does anyone even know who Jack Bauer is, other than me? If you watch 24, you know the reference to Jack Bauer. Andrew Vaughn, Bryce Terang, of course, the big name as well. Good team. Just it's all young guys. Will the young guys produce or will they not? They got blasted by the Dodgers. Who doesn't lose the darn Dodgers? They got blasted by the by the Dodgers last year, and it was rough for them. It was very tough for the Brewers. They were coming into that on a pretty high horse, and they just got flattened. So we'll see how it goes this year for them. But I think this will probably be a team that will make the playoffs once again. And then we got the Chicago Cubs, who also were a very good team last year at 92-70. Fell short of the Brewers winning the division because, well, the Brewers were just nasty last year. This is a team that was very good at hitting last year. They did lose Kyle Tucker. We'll go over the team that got him soon. But they did lose Kyle Tucker last year, but they brought in Alex Bregman instead, one Houston Astro to another. um, but this is a team that definitely has still some good talented guys. Pete Crow Armstrong's still around. Saya Suzuki. I don't know how to say his first name. Sorry, I have a hard time. I don't know. I have a hard. Some of these guys, it's like yikes. But Carson Kelly, Michael Bush, Dansby Swanson still around. You got some young guys coming up to the Cubs still as well. Pitching staff of Matthew Boyd, Shota Imanaga. Yeah, Imanaga. Yeah, I said that right. Kate Horton, Edward Cabrera. They got him the trade via the Marlins, and then also Jameson Tyon, Daniel Palencia, who was very good for Venezuela as a closer. Cubs have a good team. I think this is also going to be, a playoff team this year. Very good players, very good team. Again, this is a team that spends money on players to win, It really isn't that hard to figure out. The team spends money and thus they get good players. Like, is it really that hard to understand? For some, I guess it is. Next, we have the Cincinnati Reds, who made it to the playoffs last year at 83 and 79. Very young team that was in rebuilding mode and made a bit of a surprise to get all the way to the postseason. Mind you, as the sixth seed, but mind you, as the last wild card team. But still made it and made it past the the team you would have expected to make it, which is the New York Mets. Um, but the Reds are still a young team. A lot of young guys still. They brought back actually Eugenio Suarez, which is where he's Cincinnati is where he started his career. Still got some good pitchers like Chase Burns, Brady Singer, Nick Lodolo, Andrew Abbott. Once he comes back, they will also have Hunter Green. He's out for a while this year. Nick Lodolo is out to start the year as well. You also got Ellie De La Cruz, of course, some young, big time prospects like Sal Stewart coming in. You got Brian Hayes as well, Novelli Marte, Spencer Steer. Very young team. This is still a young budding team, still a team that is developing. But making the playoffs last year, albeit getting smoked by the Dodgers, is this like a? You've been kind of hearing that a lot as a little theme in this video. All these teams that seemingly are doing well are getting just pummeled by one team, being the Dodgers. Yeah, we'll get to them. But the Reds, good team. You know, they got young guys, they got young talent, they got everything you'd want in a young and budding squad. I mean, nothing wrong with the Cincinnati Reds, and well, I mean, 83 and 79 last year. Nothing says they can't improve this year. Nothing says they won't go backward either. But this is a good team. I think the Reds will have a solid year, and they'll be right in the mix for a playoff game or for the playoffs once again. Then we have the Pittsburgh Pirates at 71 and 79. Uh, this is Paul Skeens and who. um, this is a team that's kind of going down the LA Angel route. I mentioned them in the American League video. But this is a team that's going down the LA Angel route of signing the has-beens. As they brought in both Ryan O'Hearn and Marcell Ozuna. Brian Reynolds is still there. Brandon Lau is now on the team, or Lau, I think it's Lau. Gregory Soto has been brought in. I mean, these are all guys who, yeah, they were great like 4 years ago. Brian O'Hearn is not that special in my opinion. Or Ozuna has been good for was good like 3 years ago. Lau was good like 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. So I mean, I guess they're trying, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, you're signing all has-beens. You're signing guys who are good ages ago. That doesn't really solve any problem. And you still got O'Neal Cruz, who's a somewhat young dude who's obviously had a hard time finding his way. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know with with the Pirates here. I think this will be another strugglesome year for them. I mean, it's like I said, it's Paul Skeens and nobody else. Still, I don't really think there's much different there. And then the St. Louis Cardinals, was 78 and 84 last year. This is a team that's entering rebuild mode. They've kind of been trying to offload most of the, older dudes that they've had. Sending them to different places. Brendan Donovan was the most recent one. They're also trying to get the most some other younger guys that they have, like Jordan Walker, who's still 23 years old, but has had a rough go so far in his major league career. You also got Lars Nootbaar. This is a team I don't think will make a playoff push, but probably won't be a pushover. They should be decent. They also brought in the number 5 prospect in baseball to be in the starting lineup of J.J. Weatherholt. Talk about the Tigers doing that with their number 2 prospect and Kevin McGonigal. That was a little bit more surprising than this one. But, I mean, yeah, Cardinals, decent team. I don't think, like I said, I don't think they'll make a playoff push, but I don't think this is going to be a team that's a total pushover either. I think they'll at least make teams beat them. And then next up here, we have the NL West, and we get to the team that basically owns the rest of the league at this point, and that's the LA Dodgers. You might as well call Major League Baseball the LA Dodger Invitational at this point, because I don't. There's no. Every year we come into the season, we see this team just and people make the argument, well, they're not perfect. They're missing holes here and there. Yeah, well, they do in every off season. There's a couple holes that pop up, and they sign literally the best players at that position. Every off season, they come into every off season. There's a couple holes that over the course of the year, end up popping up, and they don't look as great at that spot. And then the Dodgers casually just go okay, and then they sign the best players at that position. It's just you know and this is why I have been very vehement with friends and family, where I'm saying we got to implement some sort of salary cap or or salary floor, because the Dodgers are just going to keep doing this until someone finally just says no. Unless the owners just finally say, okay, we can't let the Dodgers, dominate every year, or the league just says enough's enough. We want to see more teams in it, rather than the Dodgers win like 8 years in a row, which is, probably the collision course we're on as of this moment. But it just it's frustrating when you just know the end result every year. Now, yes, the Blue Jays made it close last year, and it was a fun series. Yeah, the Dodgers still won. That's my point. Then you're like, oh well, the Blue Jays couldn't really beat them, then everybody else can. Well, no, no, don't give me that. Everybody knows the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, and it's not really going to change. They came into this year 93 and 93 and 69 last year, by the way. Not that that really matters. They came into the season. They came into this year um, with really two major weaknesses, being the closer position and an outfield spot. So what do? They signed Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker. I mean, they just casually go out and sign two of the best, like one of the best closers and one of the best outfielders. I don't know how you beat that when they consistently sign the best players at every position. There's just no way of beating that. They just are going to continue to do that. And you can say guys are getting older and they're not going to be as good, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think this is just another year of the Dodgers, and we'll see if maybe somebody can beat them. Maybe the Mariners can get the best of them, but I don't know. I think might be just another year of the Dodgers win, and then we go over the whole stupid thing again. Next up here, we had the San Diego Padres. They were 90 and 72 last year. This is a team that was very dependent on pitching last year. They had a very good pitching staff. The hitting was not overly sharp. It is not going to be overly sharp that much this year either. They're going to depend certainly on their pitching to get them through. Nick Pivetta, Michael King, Joe Musgrove, Randy Velasquez, and Herman Marquez. I'm not really sure if all those guys will do great for them, but some of them probably will. Mason Miller, of course, the closer, that is the best closer in baseball. I like Edwin Diaz is very good. Mason Miller might be the best closer in baseball as of right now. You also got Manny Machado over there, along with Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis. Bogarts and Cronenworth are big names, but neither one of those guys have done very well in recent years. They also signed Nick Castellanos. So we'll see if he ends up playing for him at any point this year. Obviously, some issues in Philly. Um, I think this will be another good year for the Padres. They always play well. So it's a question of if they can ever get past the Dodgers. And knowing how many star players the Dodgers sign every year, I'm not sure that really is possible. The Padres did it once, and then they lost to the Phillies. They might as well be honestly the Padres might as well be the Bills of the MLB, and that's mostly because the Dodgers exist. And then you got the San Francisco Giants, who are 81 and 81, who are smack dab 500 last year, 81-81. You got some good pitching. You got Logan Webb, you got Robbie Ray, Tyler Mall, Adrian Hauser, don't know that name. Um, they got a couple good guys in terms of pitching. Okay, bullpen, I guess. You got hitting. Hitting's what they definitely will have their hang their hat on. You got Rafael Devers, Luis Arias, Matt Chapman, Willie Adames, Harrison Bader, and Young Hoo Lee, which I believe is another Japan prospect, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's played in the majors yet, but I believe this is his first year with them, or is this like second year? No, it's his third year. Okay, never mind. I'm dumb. Maybe it's the Dodgers who have that. Anyways, I mean, this is a team that certainly has some good players. Will they be better than 500? I mean, the Dodgers and Padres both exist in their division, so I think that'll be a little bit tough, but I guess it's not impossible. We'll see what they can do, but I think the Giants they'll be good. I just don't know if they'll be good enough. And then I don't have to go over this one. The Colorado Rockies are the worst team in baseball. 43 and 119 last year, nearly broke the record that the Chicago White Sox set 2 years ago for the worst record in baseball. These guys suck. Um, Not really any other way of putting it. They might be a little less bad this year, but it's Colorado. These guys are awful. I'm not gonna spend much time on that. When you go 43 and 119, there's not much to really say other than just you stink. And then lastly we have the Arizona. I almost said Dodgers. Arizona Diamondbacks. The heck? Don't if you're an I know Swerve. Don't get mad at me. And any other Arizona fan for whatever reason that is watching this, don't get mad at me. Arizona Diamondbacks. Decent overall team. I mean, they got a couple good players here and there. Last year, the Diamondbacks went 80 and 82, similar to another team that I was talking about in the American League in the A's. Arizona certainly was able to score. They had no problems doing that, but their pitching staff had enormous issues and just was not able to um, really produce. They had a lot of problems there. They're also waiting on Corbin Burns to come back. That might be a while, but once he gets back, that'll be a big time player for them. It's going to be a tough go for the Diamondbacks. I mean, the pitching staff's still a little barren. They still got some good hitting, but the pitching staff is sorely lacking, and I think that will hold them back a bit. You know, we'll see if the Diamondbacks can make some improvements in terms of pitching, but I think they're going to have a tough time this year when it comes to getting runs on the. Or, I'm sorry, when it comes to keeping teams off, keeping teams from putting runs off. I'm putting. Oh my gosh, keeping teams from putting runs on the board. There we go. Golly. I'm gonna just because of that. No, I'm already done anyway. But just because of that, I'm gonna end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Until then, adios, everybody.